Let's finally get into this main event, fellas. We had Edwards taking on Colby Covington, but before we get into the results, had a lot of pre-fight antics going on, dressing up as pilgrims and talking about dead dads being in hell. Y'all think Colby's antics were inbounds or out of bounds?
I think it was pretty messed up. Some of the stuff he said. I thought Colby was going to win going into it, but after he did some of that shit at the pre-fight, I was like, I hope this dude gets destroyed. Like, I'm sick of him. He's a Chael Sonnen knockoff, or the Wish version of Chael Sonnen.
Not as good.
You said something when we did the pre-fight show about his stuff being scripted, and a lot of the shit he was talking, like he would stutter or say the wrong word or something. Like, he's just full of shit. Like, yeah. I hope it humbled him. Of course, we'll get there on the post fight. Of course, it didn't, but I don't want to see him up there fighting for the belt anymore. I wouldn't care if they cut him.
Steve, what do you think?
I picked him to win and thought with his skills.
Before we get into the fight, though, what do you think about his pre-fight antics, inbounds or out of bounds?
I would say, I'm bad. I got sidetracked. I was gonna say, I was wanting him to win but after I saw the press conference, I didn't want him to win because of the antics, what he was saying. I didn't. After that, regardless, before we made our picks, I'm like, oh, I don't want this dude to win. After I heard the verbal back and forth with Edward and Colby Covington, and thus the antics with the red coats and saying we're against conveniently Leon Edwards is from England. Everything was agreeable. Everything can be, if you don't get too outside of, stamping somebody as a one, you can get to nationality. But like they say, I don't know if it's around, but you always heard you don't talk about the dead and you respect the dead. And I think that's where he took it too far. And I think the MMA community took it too far. I think he took it too far.
Go ahead, Steve.
My bad. And I don't know if it's I think it's relevant. I don't think people brought it up too much when Duplessis did it. I'm trying to see the correlation or the difference, but that's just something random I thought about. Lately people would talk about people's dead relatives with Sean Strickland's father.
We'll get into that a little later before we sign off on the show. But I remember Steve mentioned this before on a previous show. Words are words at the end of the day. It's nothing you could say that's gonna be worse than going in there and getting punched in the face. But don't y'all think at some point you ostracize yourself from your peers and the MMA community in general and isolate yourself when you keep, being a jackass and saying stuff, and you might say it's just for show, but as time moves on, people will get tired of your shit and like almost like a boy cry wolf. Like we've seen this story before, and you can't even back it up. So
yeah. Like John Jones even posted something about it. Like, Colby's a piece of shit, and he's done a lot of stuff, in the past that was questionable because I guess they used to train together and all that. Like, I was thinking about that. I was like, man, how does Colby's corner even like support him with some of the dumb shit he says and does?
He doesn't even have like a real camp. Like no camp wants to actually have him there. He's been jumping, and I don't even know what they call this camp he was in. It's like something, I think, a name he just made up, or it's like a camp that's not been around for a while. So
yeah,
can't stay in a camp.
Yeah, he talked a lot of shit. I think he crossed the line bringing up the dead dad, and then put on a complete shit show. Like, I think that he should be ostracized. Really, I mean, what does he have left?
Yeah, so let's just get into the fight. I usually write down notes for the fight, but I tossed out any notes I was gonna write because it was not much to this fight. So all of us picked Colby, and from what we've seen Colby do in the past, he's always a pressure fighter, push forward. None of that in this fight. Edwards pretty much controlled everything. It was standing for a lot of it. Edwards controlled the distance. It was picking him apart from the outside. He's being more methodical than vicious, but he pretty much did that for most all of the 5 rounds outside of that 5th round. But even when it came to grappling, when Colby got Edwards down, Edwards was able to pop up, and Edwards got a couple takedowns himself, which was kind of shocking. And Colby looked like a completely different fighter. Not a memorable performance, especially with all that trash he was talking about.
At that head kick, I think he had that in his mind. And he also saw the second fight to where Edwards pretty much did a pretty good damn job at takedown defense. And I think that might have been lingering in his head to whether it meant exhaustion. He was trying to compare himself, how he fought to Kamaru Usman, comparing it to Leon. And I think he may have overcalculated things to not press the gas in the first 3 rounds. And I think that bit him because we all seen him press the work on everybody in his fights, and he just chose not to do it. I think this is an opponent, whether it's because of the layoff, and I think that's a big thing too, that it cost him.
So let me ask both of y'all this. Steve touched on it a little bit. You think it was the layoff, or he's 35? You think this guy's just washed?
I don't think he's washed. I think Steve's right that he's seen the Edwards game kind of has kept progressing, and he did very good against Usman. So I think Colby came in with, okay, I'm not going to do what Usman did. I'm not going to try this. I'm not going to try that. I'm going to wait him out a couple rounds, try to get him to tire something. Like, he just wrong game plan.
I don't know. The word for it. Did he? To me, it seems he came in there soft-minded, not taking people down, pressing them, and he didn't have that vicious intent. He was almost waiting for opportunity, like he was a striker or something. I don't know what the hell he was thinking.
Yeah, but I mean, look at it this way. Just say Colby Covington watched our show and listened to our picks. All 3 of us picked him. We thought he was going to walk through Edwards easily. So maybe he went in there with the same hype in his mind that I'm just going to own this fight. And then as soon as, Leon defended a couple of those takedowns, Colby just kind of shut down. What else does Colby have? He's known for having pillow hands. He probably just panicked in there and just knew that his biggest asset in his fighting was just negated right there. So maybe he just panicked on the spot, didn't know what to do.
I didn't think he was gonna completely run over Edwards, but I thought he went comfortably just because he'd be in his face. And I thought he'd fight kind of like how Strickland fought Adesanya. I thought it'd be more in that mold, but that did not happen at all. So you think maybe some of the outside antics maybe have hindered Colby from maximizing his training camp or whatever? Also, maybe the game's passed him by. MMA is a constantly evolving sport. If you don't keep up with it, and if you're worried about all the outside distractions, and I know he had a case with Jorge Masvidal, maybe he was focused on that. I know he had to deal with some legal stuff, but y'all don't think the game may have passed him by a little bit?
I don't think it passed him by. I just think that
he hasn't fought in like 2 years.
I just think he's maybe his style has got busted too. Is at least the fighters in that weight division kind of learned that he's a pressure fighter. I just got to work on my takedown defense and don't let him get in my face. I don't know, and it could be that he was more worried about talking, getting sound bites in and shit like that, trying to get his social media stock up. It wasn't the same person that we're used to, but he also did have a layoff, so you don't really know what it was. I think after the fight, during the post-fight interview, he said, ring rust maybe got me more than I thought, but an athlete like that, I don't know. I just don't know.
I feel like there's different types of fighters on layoff. And what I mean by that, you might have, it depends how you come in and how you work. MMA fighters, you might have gym rats, but who are the gym rats who stay in the gym? These are the martial artists like Stephen Thompson. Like, this is their way of life. They're going to teach kids, and they're, still training no matter what. When it comes to Colby, I highly doubt he was working for those whole 2 years as if of a person that was in a martial art like Stephen Thompson, always in shape, going to the gym, teaching people. I think he was too lazy in between those 2 years.
Right. And like you said, EJ, he bounces between camps, so he probably didn't have a consistent camp for those 2 years. So it could be that he didn't train a lot between that.
Yeah. A lot of factors probably played into it. But what do y'all think about post-fight? The crowd was all for Colby. I've never seen such a fast turnaround from a crowd being on your side to completely turning on you. Even former President Donald Trump walked out during his post-fight speech. So what were your thoughts on the crowd completely turning on him?
I liked it just because, and I mean, that's the way it should be. It's kind of like when you see something on social media, somebody trying to expose something, but they're actually lying, and then you see everybody turn against them. So it was kind of the same thing. The crowd in the beginning was behind him because he was this big shit talker. He was going to come in there and beat Edwards. Everybody in there probably thought just like we did. And, everybody likes to see a loudmouth's downfall, no matter if you like them or not. Sometimes you got to root against your own person that you think's going to win when they talk such a big game and lose that one-sidedly.
Do you know those memes with the violin music?
Yeah.
I just imagine it's like, yeah, Trump, yeah, we went in a hard fight and we did it. And Trump's walking away. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's what I felt like. And plus, Trump was like, probably, hey, I'm trying to run for election this year. I can't stay around with you saying something stupid while I'm here. It's going to look like I'm promoting that with you. I mean, it just shows that many things are around Colby right now. It's how many people do, like I heard Admire say, like, how many people as coaches want to be attached to that? You say you can get away with certain things, but certain things are not moral, especially for these people that have brands and don't want to be associated with them in their gym, because it makes it look like they're letting that happen.
Yeah. I don't know. So I wouldn't be mad if I never saw another Colby Covington fight. He doesn't really do anything for me. I mean, I'm sure he'll probably will. I mean, he's only lost to the best. But Admire touched on it earlier, like trash talkers. But I feel like him and Chael Sonnen, who was another trash talker, are like night and day. Chael was kind of sticky with it, and he was tongue in cheek, and he was witty with it, and it was funny. And I rooted for Chael. But Colby just seems like scripted and lowbrow, and I don't know, like just like mean-spirited.
Chael was playing a character, and I don't think Colby got that part of it. That like, hey, that's a character, and there's still lines you don't cross, and it is tongue in cheek. I don't think Colby ever got that, and thinks he's the real bad guy. I don't want to see him fight in the UFC again. I've seen enough of him over here.
But Emma, it's funny that you mentioned that, because I've had a friend that actually met him in person, and there's stories that Usman bumped into him in the buffet line, and he'll basically tell you like, "Hey, I'm off the clock. That's just what I have to do to promote a fight." And like my friend Mark, he met him. He was like, he's the nicest guy, and he didn't bring up any political stuff, and he just basically has to do this to sell fights.
Right. I mean, it is a character that he's playing, but it's a hardcore character. It's like you don't have to do all the MAGA shit and like talking about the dead dad and just like getting in the personal side. Like, you know, one of the rules that it used to be between the fighters when talking shit was no kids, no family, you know, it's strictly about us. And it's like he didn't get that memo. He wants to be over the top with it. And that's why, you know, Jorge Masvidal fucking caught him slipping and, you know, went after him. And you can't, these are real fighters that will fight. You can't cross some lines and then be like, oh, it's just a character, because a lot of these guys don't like that character shit. A lot of them, that's why a lot of them don't like McGregor, because it's a character. A lot of them didn't like Chael Sonnen because it's a character. So, I mean, just fucking retire.
Chael Sonnen was a character. I don't think McGregor's a character. I think he really believes everything that he said. And we've seen the footage of him fighting people in public and stuff. Yeah, like Covington's definitely not about that life. Like I said, Usman ran down on him, and he's saying that he's off the clock and that is just to promote a fight. So, but we already talked. We don't have to rehash over what's going next for Edwards, because we basically talked about it when we talk about Shavkat. It's probably going to be Bilal Muhammad, and so y'all think that Edwards, I won't say transitional champion, but y'all think that his reign probably won't be that long if he runs into Shavkat? Because like I said, I think he beats Bilal, but feels like the clock is ticking though.
Yeah, Bilal will be a good fight with him. Shavkat is the boogeyman, but I don't know, man. Leon Edwards, like I said earlier, I talk crazy shit on him, and his game seems to be still developing. He might put up a better fight. I mean, what if he does beat Shavkat? Then it's like, oh shit.
Yeah, never say never in the world of MMA. But Steve, you think his time is ticking?
As far as
title reign, Edwards.
Like I said, we see that he can get taken down, but if he gets taken down by somebody who knows how to hold him down, he's in trouble. Kamaru Usman, you know, he showed he's done that. And Edwards done better the second fight, but look at this fight. Colby Covington was half-assing, and even in the fourth one of those rounds was turned it up to take him down still. If you got somebody who's under pressure and just can keep you down like it could be, or a Shavkat, because I think he's one of those people that can do it, he would be in trouble.
Yeah. Like Admire said, that's the boogeyman. I don't think nobody wants any parts of him, but we'll see how it plays out.